not still going to have the same problem. I mean, you're going to run into it either way.
If you take a Sharpie, you highlight over, this Pokemon goes to sleep, you're good to go. But yeah, otherwise, there's no way to stop that. I mean, you either run a bunch of flip cards like reversals and babies, or you just get rolled by it. So.
Yeah.
So you either should run it or you're against it or something like that?
No, it's like you run it or die. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, look at how many cards actually have flip effects in the format. Like, every single trainer, it's like reversal, super scoop up, life herb.
Life herb?
I don't think we have scoop up and life herb anymore. Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Life herb, I know, yeah. We got scoop up too.
Yeah.
I use that against you.
It just came out in the Black White set too.
Shows how much I pay attention.
Even like Good Rod, that has a flip.
Pokeball. That's actually,
Victory Medal.
Pokeball's actually not that bad.
Dual wall, 2 flips.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of flips in this format. But can you run cards and not have to run reversal, and will your deck be better? Like, if you avoid the flips for reversal? I'm not saying I agree with that.
Better, probably not. I think you can run a card like a Pokemon Circulator, which will get you around the baby, but then it puts you in a lot of other situations during games where you're not in as good a shape, such as against a deck like Emboar, Magnezone, where you need that reversal and don't have it. I think that there's ways around the babies, but then you're in bad situations in other places, so you kind of got to pick your poison. I think babies are the ones, you're going to see babies all the time, but how many Emboars do you think you'll see?
Sure, very good point.
Yeah, I think you have to play the babies, at least to some extent, maybe like one Cleffa, at least. But in terms of reversals, I mean, if your deck is just that much is that overpowered that it can just beat everything straight up, and then the only thing you really need to worry about is your opponent's baby flips, and then you can just like go, well, I win anyways, even without reversal, so I can play other cards. But until someone discovers that, you kind of have to just go with the flow and run reversals and babies.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's your alternative to Cleffa?
Yeah.
Are you going to run this? I mean, that's like...
Are you going to run that? That sounds like a poop card to me.
Do not tempt me. I will run it.
There's like nothing that draws cards besides Cleffa.
By the way, I want to add on that there's very little difference. There's very little difference between 2 Cleffa and 1 Cleffa in a deck for most people. In case they didn't know, the big difference is that your Cleffa won't be prized. There's a much smaller chance of that. But with 4 communication, usually 3 to 4 collector, and that 1 Cleffa, you're more than likely going to be able to get that Cleffa out pretty consistently on turn 1. So a lot of people are mentioning, why would you run 3, 4, 2, or 1? I think the main difference is between the 1 and the 2. The 3 and the 4 is just, in my opinion, overkill unless you want to consistently use Cleffa throughout the game. If that's part of your strategy, then fine. But 1 and 2 is the big difference. 1 means you could have a prize. 2 means, you're playing it a little bit safer, but you're taking up an extra deck spot from that. That's one observation that I've had in this format, just because it's very rare that you don't run 4 collector and 4 communication in your deck.
Well, you also don't want to have the Cleffa be your lone Pokemon, because it'll just get Tyrogue. So running 3 and 4 is like way jumping that chance right up there. And Tyrogue's a really good card because of that right now.
Yeah, but Tyrogue's good though because it keeps everyone's deck in check. You can't have a deck that runs crazy amount of babies or else you just lose a Tyrogue. So it's kind of like a balance between how many babies do I run and how many real Pokemon do I run. Yeah,
you want to keep your babies to a minimum. You want to keep your babies to a minimum because they're obviously the most vulnerable threats, the most vulnerable Pokemon. But you're also going to want to have something like a Cleffa for consistency. You're going to want to maybe potentially have a Pichu for, again, consistency, especially if you're going to run in like a deck like Typhlosion. And Tyrogue is just a great attacker. With a couple of plus powers, you can kill any 50 HP Pokemon. Without plus powers, you can one-shot a baby. It's just really nice. So you're going to want to have probably 3 Pokemon, sometimes 2 if you don't want the Pichu. But you don't want to have more because then you run into the threat of starting with just a lone baby against the Tyrogue, and that's not fun. Let me tell you.
You know how you avoid Tyrogue?
I told you. I said something.
Tyrogue.
Does it have 50 HP or how much HP does it have?
60. 60.
Oh no.
It feels
Tyrogue
Star,
is
baby.
fire resistance.
Farfetch feels like a 70 Pokemon.
Triple
It's
Blood
60.
Star.
Here, you want to hear the flavor text?
Yes, I do.
If it eats the plant stock it carries as emergency rations, it runs off in search of a new stock.
So then you have to run 2 Farfetch'd in your deck.
But if it eats it, then it's pre-marinating itself. It just makes it more valuable for those Pokemon catchers.
And with that thought, we're going to leave you guys. You guys have any closing statements?
Hold on, I actually did have a question from somebody else.
Okay.
I thought it would be a pretty good one. Somebody wanted to know, how do you prepare for a tournament? Like, what do you go through mentally and just preparation in general? Anybody want to take that first?
I'll go. I have a very tense job, which tends to put me in these situations. I work teaching kids gymnastics, and being in front of the parents, like, the kids' lives are in my hands, and it's a huge responsibility. And the sense of having a parent watch you and for an hour or whatever kind of puts me in that situation where I'm like, oh, well, nerves and playing cards aren't that big a deal. And so I think just kind of going through life and having different experiences, going through classes where you're doing public speaking in front of large crowds and things like that kind of help you ease the nerves. And then there's other ways you can deal with it. You can probably read about somewhere, drinking like warm water or something like that. But putting yourself in situations where you would normally be nervous and getting used to it and getting used to that feeling, I think is a good way to get through it.
Okay.
I think once you get past those nerves, though, then there's other things you can do, like you're gonna get hungry, so you want to have like breakfast, stuff like that, and like energy drinks, because I usually don't get much sleep during these events. I get like on average maybe 6 hours a day.
Must be nice.
Oh, that must be amazing.
I got, you know what I got before the first day of Nationals last year? I think we got like 1 or 2 hours of sleep.
I'm counting that one. I'm counting that one.
Yeah.
One of those nights I'm just gonna pass out like way early. So it's like an average. But
yeah, I don't sleep at all at tournaments. I think that's kind of what like helps me not be nervous. I could care less about the tournament at that point. I just really want to get to bed.
That's why you always. That's why you've never made top cut, Graham.
Hey man, I've only been top cut once, and that was on resistance. No, I think what I use is, well, I treat Pokemon a lot differently than I treat other competitive games. Like for Pokemon, I remember that I'm here for friends, and that's really what I care about. I mean, obviously doing well is great, and doing well would be, a dream come true and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm there for my friends, and I'm there to just hang out. So obviously I'm going to care about how I do, but at the end of the day, I'm more interested in seeing, how Kyle did in his round, and I'm more interested in seeing how Pram did in his round. So in the middle of the game, yeah, I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to be, do the best I can, but I'm also going to remember that I'm there for my friends and I'm there to hang out. So I'm not going to let it get to me if I lose. If I lose, it happens. But you have to have that kind of a mindset. You can't have a, this is it. This is what I've been training for my whole life, because then at that point you put too much pressure on yourself, and you don't want to do that. You want to just have fun, relax, and focus, because you do play better when you're relaxed.
Yeah, you just got to take it one game at a time. You just go, okay, I won. And then you go, okay, well, how many rounds are left? Well, that just means I have to go, 3 and 2.
Yeah. Like that. I've seen a lot of people get really mad at the end of a round. I mean, it happens, you're going to lose. I've been, donked a million times in my life, and I'll probably be donked a million more. It happens. You can't let it affect you. You can't let it be, the reason that you stop talking to your friends for the next couple hours.
I think the only time I get mad is when I
play some games,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have an hour to hang out now. Just go cool off with you.
Well, yeah.
Go outside,
I mean, I think if you take a brutal loss like that, where you just got T1'd or something, just walk it off. Like, just spend like 5 minutes walking around.
Have you ever seen Chuck after he loses? The guy won't talk to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's funny when somebody gets turned 1 and they're, it's the end of their world, but then the next round they turn 1 somebody and they forgot all about it. You're saying, well, this is normal. This happens all the time. You can't have that reaction. If you're gonna freak out when you lose, then I mean, you shouldn't, because you You know, you just, or I guess I should say that if you're going to be calm when you win, then you shouldn't freak out when you lose. I guess that's what I was trying to say.
But yeah, for prepping for a tournament, shower number one, because that's just for my personal benefit. Try to get a good amount of sleep, even if that's not possible. Just go, try to. Breakfast. I think breakfast is important because the worst thing is feeling hungry while playing a game. It's just like, my stomach's growling, but I can't go eat yet because I have to win a round. And then if that round goes late, I won't be able to eat next round either. That just sucks. So, eat, sleep, shower. The basic morning things.
I think being comfortable too. Like, I'm not sure how many people I've seen who dress up in costumes and go to tournaments do well, because that just can't be comfortable. Like sitting there an entire day in a costume. So I think like being comfortable has to be a major key.
When people dress up as Team Rocket, it's like,
hey man, I've seen a picture of Drew in a Pikachu outfit.
It was one game, alright? Don't hold it against me.
Yeah.
But even that wasn't like a full body costume. It was kind of like a throw on of Pikachu.
Yeah, I'm sure that
it was full body. It was full body.
It was.
We don't speak of it, alright?
We gotta get a picture of that for next week.
Sorry for making you look good, Drew.
Yeah, that'll be our little phasing picture. It'll just be Drew and a Pikachu.
I think the floor has been destroyed.
Drew, you got anything to say on this topic?
Going back to the original question, starting with playtesting, you got prepared for the tournament with your testing. I'm lucky I have Mondak that lives right next to me, a really good player, so a couple days a week, you sit down, you think, especially during this new format, you have to figure out what's good, what's bad. Before, last format, didn't really test that much, but that changed. And during the actual tournament, everything you guys said, shower, stay hydrated, stuff like that. So, I think we hit on everything.
Oh yeah, and be wary of deck switching, because I know there's like a lot of hype on what's being played, but you just gotta go with what you think you're most comfortable with and what you think is the best. Because I know some players can pull it off, but many can't. I've seen like that one year, Infernape came out and we changed Meganium Metagross way too much, and as a result everyone bombed with it except for Chad, and that was like the only tournament nationals Chad did. Like
what, Chad?
We love you, Chad, but we're gonna nail on you when we get the chance.
I think the biggest thing people stress out about is making a deck choice and like editing their list at the last second. I think the biggest mistake you can make is to like totally ignore all your testing results and just make a random decision on what you want to play or what you want to throw on your deck.
Isn't that what we do?
Yeah, I mean, I almost did that at Worlds, and then I changed it back, and my reason came back, and I was like, oh, I really shouldn't be doing this.
Like, I remember I played against you a few times, and I won a few games, and you, like, went on complete tilt, and you took out your Dusknoir line and added in reversals. But thankfully, you got convinced to not do that. Otherwise, Worlds probably would have turned out a little differently.
I wouldn't have my name on your deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely just go with what you're comfortable with. Don't do anything crazy. I mean, even if you don't think the deck you're comfortable with is the best deck, you're probably going to play it the best. So you're going to have the best chance of winning with it in the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that was like Jason's reason for running Guardy that year.
Yeah.
I think the consensus was Empoleon was better, but
yeah,
Jason just knew Guardy better, so he just ran with it. So, look where he is now.
Well, I've been playing Dialga in every tournament for like 3 years.
Yep.
Alright, that was my question.
Alright. So, does anybody have any closing statements?
No.
Actually, we all have closing statements. So, we'll start off with our special guest, Mr. Bolton.
Oh, yeah. All right, so the general thing, even going back to the original topic of the show, Stage 1 versus Stage 2 decks, Most important thing is be comfortable with what you're playing. Be comfortable with the event.